go.
We're live on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube. All right.
Send it. This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warn, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 274, Prepping for the End of the World.
Tonight, Aaron's son breaks everything, Jeremy goes silent, and Ben's in the market for some new used tires.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Jeremy. And what is new? Oh.
Well, we're in the Week in Review, guys, and the Week in Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get some off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And soon we're going to have Skinny Medic on to talk about those kits.
Yeah, I messaged him. We should be. Those kits are just about wrapped up. I think he had a few things left to get the big kit wrapped up. And then he's going to come on and talk about them. I'm excited for it.
I am too. I
Yeah,
can't wait to get those actually released.
Well, Jeremy, what's new, man?
Well, I finally got my cans out of ATF jail. Thank goodness. Immediately lost them
days?
in a boating accident. What was that?
How many days were they in jail?
It was 225 days after the check was cashed.
Oh, that's
So
not bad.
it was probably
Did-
about 240, especially not for
Was yours a trust?
it was a trust. Yeah,
okay,
it was a
so
trust.
that's why it took a little longer.
Yeah. If you go on like Silencer Shop right now, it basically says it's going to take you 260 days from check cash to approved. And so I was a little bit faster. I was surprised that they all came back at the same time, especially because two of them went out first and then one of them was late and went out after that. So I was a little bit surprised that they were all done at the same time, unless Rainier Arms held on to
They
them.
sat on them.
Possibly. I don't know. Ben could probably tell us if they do that, but I think they
No.
probably just
Well,
give you a
but
call.
you can look at the date on your stamp.
Yeah, I should probably do that.
No, they're pretty good about they'll just like a bunch of them will come in. They'll be like, okay, this one's. Hey, this can is here, or all your cans came in. So
Yeah,
it's
and
more on the
I-
ATF's end when we get them.
I guess the ATF could just kind of group them up for the different vendors and send the vendor a package or something. I don't know. I work for the government,
I doubt
and
they're that organized. Or even
I
care.
also
No, I
also
think
doubt they're that organized.
I think you just got lucky, and it was possibly the same agent that dealt with all three of your suppressors.
Yep.
And once they noticed that it was all you for all three of them, they just grouped them together and kept them all grouped.
Probably, which is nice because I did not want to have to. I was not going to go out to Rainier more than once. I mean, it took me. It's like an hour and a half each direction.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive for you. I mean, it's understandable that you wouldn't want to make that drive one day and then, oh, hey, your next can just showed up. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Right. So I ended up going out there on a Thursday after work. I immediately got off of work, jumped in the car with Jude and drove out there.
And didn't call me.
No, I had Jude, so it had to be a quick in and out.
You could have stopped
Ain't nobody
by-
got time for
you could have
that.
stopped by and seen the fire truck.
But
Oh.
quick it was not. It took forever.
Really?
It's never quick.
Well,
Man.
so I may have some information that Ben doesn't even know since Ben hasn't worked there in a while.
No,
They changed their system, so they're currently doing it, and they changed it like this last week to a new, faster, automated system. But in the interim, I don't know if they're worried about losing stuff, but they are having to do it both ways at the moment.
Oh,
So I was there for almost 2 hours to get the 3 cans processed out to me.
Oh, that's brutal.
All the
That
while holding Jude,
Yeah.
trying to keep him from running around all over the place.
oh, Daddy, let's go play with this. Daddy, let's go play with this.
That's rough.
Daddy, look at
Yeah.
that.
Because I thought, oh, everything's good to go. I walk in and maybe have to wait a little bit for somebody to be ready to help me and then say, I'm picking up 3 cans, please. And then go, great. Oh, let me check your ID. Oh, okay. Yep, you're good to go. Here they are. Have fun. But I
Even still, then it's still not even that way. Before it wasn't even that way. Still
yeah,
takes an hour, if that half hour. Sometimes it just depends upon what paperwork is left to be completed.
yep. But I'm very happy to have them. Now I need a host for the 22 can because I don't have anything that that a can thread onto for 22.
Yeah, me too.
Do you got
But
a
I have
10,
a
20
22 can.
Do you got a 10 count 22?
No, I do not.
Oh,
My
get yourself a 22.
Well, I'm actually looking at a Ruger American rimfire.
The bolt action.
Yeah. Yep. And just be super quiet. I also want to get a 22 cap for my 30 cal can and thread that on there because I think that would be awesome. But we'll see. The other thing I did is I finally heard back from the insurance company. It's not the Jeep's not totaled. Oh well, I was hoping.
One can always hope.
I
Aaron, you kind of went a little robot-y.
I said my fingers were crossed.
Fingers were crossed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh
yeah,
well.
it's unfortunate, but fortunate. I don't know. It just depends upon how you look at it. I know you're not planning on getting rid of your Jeep, right? So it's like if
No.
it was totaled, it wouldn't be a big deal because you're not trying to resell it.
Right. So we'll see. Now I'm just trying to make the next steps, make the monies work out to and figure out how much I'm going to do this time versus hold off on.
Well, the good news is that your Jeep doesn't have a branded title now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded.
I know, but
I wonder how that would have worked out with your insurance with that though. Would they have given you a higher premium because of the risks and all that? Just
I don't know. Who knows? It's probably for the best that it doesn't have a branded title, but
Yep.
So Aaron, what have you been up to?
I have been really busy in the past 2 weeks since I've been on the show. Mentioned that my son is breaking everything. I mentioned in the last episode that I needed to work on my son's dune buggy because his belt broke. No idea why it broke. I just got to do some internet reading, but got a new belt, put it on, and now his RC rock crawler is broken. I think it's got some axle problems. I don't think it's a bent axle. I think the gears are stripped out of it. So
Ooh,
not something.
new ring and
Yeah.
pinion time.
Yeah, they do sell a portal axle kit for it, which is pretty cool. But I don't really need to spend like $150 worth just for an axle upgrade on this thing that my son plays with in the front yard. So it's not that serious. So, but I could probably find some takeoff axles or something on eBay. I haven't done any diagnosing other than hearing my son say that it won't drive anywhere, but it makes noise. So that's my guess.
Oh, it could be as simple as what is it? The drive shaft is broken too.
That could be a broken drive shaft or the transfer case or anything. It's set up like a real vehicle, so it's got all the similar parts other than it's got an electric motor in the middle of it instead of an engine out front.
Yeah,
So
those RC cars are really fancy.
yeah. The same day Jeremy went to pick up some cans, I went to pick up my new rifle. I got my Grey Ghost Precision AR-10 in on Thursday. I got a call Thursday morning while I was at work. It wasn't supposed to be until Friday, and super excited. So I went there after work expecting to give him my information and 10 days later get my gun because background checks are crazy right now. But apparently, when you got a concealed weapons permit, your background check is almost instant. So I walked in, there was nobody in there, told them what I was there for, handed them my card, filled out the paperwork, and in 5 minutes I had my rifle. So much better experience than Jeremy. Jeremy, you could have driven down to my shop and back in the same amount of time and probably gotten your stuff.
I don't know about in back.
Well, but you said it was an hour and a half each way. Plus you spent 2 hours there. So that's 2.5 hours of driving each way. That's, I guess maybe not. Maybe not. It would have cost you an extra hour.
Yeah, at least. No,
Yeah.
well, to your place, I'm like 3 hours from Portland.
Yeah. Anyway, don't do the math. I was just kidding.
Yeah.
I did some hunting on my property last week. The deer like to cross the very corner of my property first thing in the morning, and then they never come back until the next day when they cross the property. Didn't get anything, so got to wait till next weekend for me to be able to go try it again. I can't do it before work because you can't shoot until the sun comes up, and as I'm leaving for work, the sun is coming up. So kind of a bummer. I can only go hunting on the weekends.
It's the rough thing about the fall. It's like it only gets darker and darker, or it
Mhm.
stays darker earlier and earlier. Like earlier in the morning, you're there till what? I want to say in the next couple weeks it'll be dark till 7.
Yeah,
What do you mean rough part? That's what makes my kid go to bed early and wake up late.
that's true. It does help with the sleeping kids.
Lately, he's been trying to convince me that the sun's still up, even though the sun is clearly down. It's like,
Oh,
no,
really?
no, sun's up, sun's up. It's
Sun's
like,
up.
it's not.
Dad, sun's up, guns up. So I got to shoot my AR-10 the day before I went hunting just to throw some bullets down the barrel, and had some issues with it. I don't know if it doesn't like the milsurp ammo or if it just needs some break-in time, but
Most
one of the
likely it doesn't like
cases,
milsurp ammo.
yeah, one of the cases got jammed. I didn't know it was jammed in the chamber, but the extractor ripped the back corner off of the case. Yeah, just
Ooh.
kind of ripped it. So I had to get in with my cleaning rod and pound it out from the front end.
Did you by chance did you lube everything after you bought it instead of just like leaving the case lube in? Or the
I opened it up. I opened it up and looked, and things looked lubricated, so I didn't add any lube to it. And I
Okay.
read through the instructions, and the instruction didn't say that I should lube it. So
Generally, when a rifle is like built and packed away, they'll use like packing grease instead of like gun grease.
mm,
Um, and it's not the best for lubricating. So I would go through and just throw some gun lube on your bolt and stuff, like really work your bolt, and that'll probably help.
Sounds like
yeah,
Fudlore to me.
Fudlore.
Every time I've suggested it to a customer, it works for them. I always clean a
Yeah.
new gun when I get it and then put fresh lube on it. So
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have hurt to clean and relube. So, but
and just from experience in the industry, it's like when you like if you're building gun part of a rifle and you're just throwing in the bolts out of the box, and the bolts are it's
dry.
packing grease, and that's sticky packing grease and not nice wet
Mm.
lubricating grease.
Are you buying just Commie Block AR stuff?
No.
It's all
Could
packed
be.
in Cosmoline?
No, it's not Cosmoline thick. It's but it's
Maybe
all
it's Cosmoline.
Yeah, there's a patch that says that.
Yeah. Last thing I did was on Saturday after I did some hunting, I got together with some friends and did some basic pistol and rifle training. It was kind of fun to do. Did some like mag reloading for the rifle and for the pistol and stuff like that. It was a good time. Stuff I'd never done before.
Ooh, pistol and rifle drills are a blast.
Yeah, literally.
Yep.
What have you been up to, Ben?
Not much. I'm trying to wrap up a bunch of projects around the house and before winter. So like my wife's car, the heat. I fixed the AC this year, and in the process of fixing the AC, I broke the heat. So I've had to fix that. There's the it's like a gearbox thing that moves the AC condenser thing that helps with heat and cool. It's like a blending solenoid or something like that. I broke it, I guess, or it broke and it wasn't switching between the two, and so I had to fix that. Not fun. And then I had done a tune up on the Expedition, and it was still having issues. Well, it turns out I forgot to plug in. Well, I had plugged it in, but I didn't fully engage the clip for the
Magazine.
That's magazine.
Nope. It was the clip for the ignition coil on
Oh,
number
shoot.
7. So it was misfiring. I'm like, what is going on here? And finally, I'm like sitting there and I'm like testing them all. And this one, I tug on it and it literally just flies out. I'm like, oh, well, that's why that I plugged it in and engine's instantly smoother. So I let the car sit for like 3 months for no reason. And now we're talking about our trip. We're going.
Oh, and he's gone. Uh-oh.
He's already on his trip. I never even got to hear where he's headed.
Where did he go? Shoot, and he was running everything today.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Do we carry on without him? Oh, here he is. And he's back.
And I'm back. We're getting ready to go to Montana for Christmas, and we're gonna take the Expedition instead of the Forerunner. And I told my wife, well, it needs new tires. I'm not putting up with the tires that are on there, especially with going over passes. So now I'm tire shopping for both rigs. I'm approved to buy tires for the Forerunner in my 35s. So I've just got to figure out what I want, and then I'm tire shopping for the Expedition at the same time. So I'm buying new tires for both rigs, and I've got to figure out what I'm going to go with. So now I'm tire shopping.
I don't know how you don't you say you got to figure that out. You don't have that like already planned. You don't know the exact size you plan to run and have
Oh, I
looked at
know
all the brands that only come in those size.
Well, so for the Forerunner, I'm doing 315 by 75 by 17s, which is a 34.6, which is a super common tire size. I'm just not sure which tire I want to get. There's a million options for that one.
He doesn't know because he has to figure out what's on the used market.
No, I can buy at a lot better prices now with the new job. So I
It's,
just got to figure out.
I just want to interrupt for a sec and say that there's some good comments going on in the chat tonight. Somebody is offering to buy my Max Tracks since you aren't picking them up. Let's see.
As you said, how far away was it for you to Rainier Arms? An hour and 45 minutes?
No, an hour and a half. And that's during rush hour. That was during rush hour.
Yes.
Somebody wants to know what used tires you're getting. Eric just asked if Ben put his computer in a ditch. And Kravik pointed out that you're not getting 35s?
Yeah, apparently 34.6s.
Yep.
It's a metric 35. Oh my goodness.
Why would you get a metric 35? Seriously though.
This is America, Ben.
Because there's more options in the metric 35 than a 35 by what is it? 11
12 and a half.
12 and a half, yeah. There's more options.
I doubt it.
There are.
Plus, we're just going to make fun of you for having 34s.
That's fine. Whatever. I'll deal with it.
Because as soon as you wear them down, you're going to have to round down. you can round up when they're new, but once you hit 80% tread.
So what if he buys used 34s? They're just going to be 33s?
Probably by the time he buys them.
Man, you guys are brutal tonight.
We're getting egged on by the people in the chat.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we are. Well, apparently Rick's on his way to your house right now, Jeremy.
Yeah, he is.
So,
and
yeah.
I gave him a $500 price tag. So man, I'm getting some good money for my axles apparently.
Well, all right. So the top contenders is I'm looking at Milestar Patagonias. As mentioned last week on the show. I'm also looking at AMP, their All Terrain Pro 2s. It's kind of like a KO2 knockoff, and it's snowflake rated. And then looking at
Is that to put on your protest vehicle?
Yeah, I think so.
yes, it is. It's for my protest vehicle. And then I'm also looking at what is it? The Terra Grappler, Nitto Terra Grapplers. Is it Nitto? Train grapplers, whatever they are. The
Yeah.
AT3s.
Some sort of grapplers.
Yeah. So yeah,
So are
that's
you
kinda
looking
just
at
what
all terrain tires?
I'm thinking all terrain or all terrain hybrid. Just I'm not mud crawling all the time. It's a little bit quieter and a little better road traction.
Yeah.
And snow traction.
I don't think you'll be happy with all terrains.
I don't think so either.
Well, then that makes
And
it
who
what?
cares about road noise? Turn your music up.
No, I didn't say road noise. I said road manners.
You did say road noise.
Did I say?
And
I meant
then
road
you
manners.
said that it would also be. Do you see how I drive with my mud terrains?
Yeah, I see how you drive, and it scares me.
It's got really good road manners in my mud terrains.
All right.
So we're getting
Just
told in
saying.
the chat to move on.
They aren't snowflake rated.
We're
Hey, guys.
reading
I
Apple-
think Rick
Well,
is
We're going to
saying-
start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
subscribing. Don't forget to check out Patriot Patch and their Patch of the Month Club. You can subscribe for just $15 a month. You get a patch, a matching sticker, and an artist proof. And whoa, look what came in the mail for you already.
Yep, I got mine too.
Look at that.
Aaron, you're going a little robot-y and you're freezing up.
So what Jeremy's showing us here is the wrapped and strapped patch of the month for October. It's a mummy with 2 Mac 10s and says wrapped and strapped. Did we check if it was glow in the dark at all? Probably not.
My son did.
He did?
The first thing he did is he ran to his room and he starts asking for his flashlight because he wanted to see if this one was glow in the dark.
Nice.
Because he's the one that always gets to put it up. So we open it up and then he gets to put it on the board behind me. But yeah, he just had to figure out if it was glow in the dark first.
Well, at least we have our professional tester there to find out whether or not. Right?
I will probably be able to comment on whether or not it's glow in the dark every single time that I get a new one.
Nice.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Well, for our news this week, our first story is this is an Aaron story right here because Nissan's launching Nismo off-road parts. So I'm gonna guess that means Nissans are gonna join kind of the ranks of Ford and who else is doing that? It has their like off-road parks too.
Mopar
too. Mopar, yep. Jeep where you can buy their aftermarket off-road parts. So if you don't get that Nismo, you can get them now.
Aaron, are you actually still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hiding in the dark though. So pretty cool that they're doing this. Am I a robot still?
Nope,
you're not
you sound
robot.
good to me.
Oh, good. Just some lag apparently. They've got an off-road bumper. Not very many people in the midsize class sell bumpers for their rigs, which is pretty cool. Off-road bumper, Nismo lights, Nismo wheels. I'm kind of surprised they don't have rock sliders on here. I think that would kind of be an easy thing to do. One cool thing though is that it mentions in this article that these parts are going to make their debut on a 2020 Frontier at the Rebel Rally.
That is really awesome. Oh, and they also have Bilstein off-road shocks as well too.
Yeah, it's going to give it some more wheel travel, and it says will support a 2-inch lift when combined with different springs. And the rears have remote shocks also, which is pretty neat.
You know what I thought was kind of cool is that these parts are going to be available from 2005. So the article made it sound as though all the parts will fit from 2005 till now.
Well, that's true because it's the same truck.
They don't have any difference in generations or anything.
It's still the same generation. Very long running.
That is a very long running.
Yes.
You're-
Yeah, that's what 15 years now.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one supposedly is coming in 2021. So they're also going to have some parts that are going to fit the Xteras and the current gen of Nissan Titans, which is kind of new.
Well, our next article here is Hyundai Elevate concept. So Hyundai decided that they want to make an extreme mobility vehicle, and it looks a lot like the was it the AT-AT from Star Wars?
Kind of.
Yeah. Also kind of reminds me of a TIE fighter when you look at the side of it. It's got
Oh,
that
yeah.
hexagon pattern with the X. Yeah. Obviously, it's just a concept. In fact, it's just a rendering. You can see that it's got these articulating wheel arms or whatever you want to call them. But I can imagine there's electric motors in the hubs on those. But what you don't see is any sort of cables or power running to or from that. So they must be running Bluetooth power, I think.
I think you're right.
The best.
And it doesn't look like
Yeah.
that framing is large enough to be hollow inside to hide the wires.
No. It's going to have to be
But-
really stout to be able to jack a vehicle up that high. And I'm not sure what you would need that much articulation and height out of a rig for.
Talk about ground clearance, though.
So in the article, they had said something along the lines of for like natural disasters where regular
Mhm.
vehicles wouldn't be able to make it, and I can see that. But I mean, at that point, it's probably to be better to be on the ground just in case the ground moves that much,
Or in a
still.
helicopter.
Or in a helicopter.
I imagine this will be cheaper than a helicopter.
Are you sure?
But on the other hand, if you just have it for disaster preparedness, I don't think it makes sense to own one. What are the chances you're going to need something like this to get yourself out of somewhere in case of a natural emergency disaster?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty weird. Neat. I hope they make it. I want to see someone take one on some serious trails and see what it does. My guess is
Well-
it's going to go up in the air and fold over sideways.
Well, actually, where it could be handy is be like not necessarily a Mars rover, but like a moon rover or something like that. Something with less gravity where you're not worried about that.
Well, I mean, I bet you could make it so it articulates and stays perfectly flat the whole time.
I'm sure you could. You wouldn't. You'd
Yeah.
extend one side up and keep the other side not as extended.
Yeah.
They would have to build that in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, our next article here is Polaris is and Zero team up for an electric off-roaders and snowmobiles. So Polaris, who makes Indian motorcycles, they have like their Slingshot three-wheeler, um, and their Razors, and the Ranger, which is the what is it? Is that the single seater? Plus
No, the Ranger is
their
more of the farm version.
Yeah,
oh, okay. Well, they teamed
they're
up
all
with Zero.
Razors.
Yeah.
It
So they seem. Go ahead.
Oh, we were commenting before the show how it's funny that they bring up maker of the Indian motorcycles and then go on to posit about the possibilities of electric motorcycles. It was just kind of funny because it's like, hey, there's this cool article about what they're doing. Yeah, we're going to talk about what we want them to do instead.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. And so they're talking about making electric off-road side by sides, which you've talked about with motorcycles, how scary quiet they are, and how there's no
Oh
warning
yeah.
with it when they come around the corner. And seeing how some side by side drivers can be, will be even worse.
Yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of that, every week when I'm looking for news articles and stuff, I type in off-road news into Google, and I'm not kidding when I say 98% of the time there's a news article that pops up talking about someone who died in a rollover accident or got thrown from their vehicle, and it's almost always a UTV. Sometimes it'll be a quad, sometimes it'll be a rig, but it's almost always a UTV. Someone wasn't wearing a helmet, someone wasn't buckled up, and yeah, it just ends their life.
Wearing a seatbelt, what a concept.
I know.
And
Yeah.
also not going 80 through a trail that's meant to be gone 10.
That is blasphemy, sir. I like to go really fast and not care about the consequences of those around me.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
point.
it right there.
And then we got up here next is, if I can get it to pull up, we have a message from a listener that I wanted to share. If my phone will pull it up. Oh my goodness. So we had been asked about if we were going to be doing an event soon. So we're kind of in the works on this. The car show, because of COVID and all that fun jazz. Yeah, it's made it too difficult. So, and people aren't giving out stuff for events right now. So most likely no car show, but instead we're talking about doing a Christmas tree run this year. So if you are in the Pacific Northwest and interested in going with us, hit us up via Facebook, Instagram, or our Google, our Gmail, offroadpodcast@gmail.com. And we could, we'll share the details on that through our Facebook, most likely.
And if
Yeah,
I was
Go
just going to
ahead.
say, if you were the listener that sent us that idea in, go ahead and let us know that you heard about it on the show, and we'll send you a sticker and maybe something else.
Yeah. And if you weren't that person but want to go on the run and have an idea of a great place to go, we've got some places in mind, but shoot some ideas our way also.
Yeah, definitely.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
You know, it's very fitting that Warren is the main topic sponsor this week because we're talking about being prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is kind of out of left field here for our podcast. It's not so much off-road related, but there's off-road related stuff that you can do. So we're going to talk about being prepared. September which this isn't September anymore, was National Preparedness Month. We really tried hard to get a couple guests, and it just didn't pan out. So we're just gonna do it without our guests. We're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna talk about, being prepared and doing some of those things. Some people call them preppers. Um, I don't. They call them a lot of other things too, I guess. But wackos and whack jobs and tinfoil hat people. But there's nothing wrong with being prepared in case something bad might happen.
And that's kind of like with SAR. I mean, all my gear that I pack for search and rescue is there for if something does happen. It's that's what it's there for, is in case something happens or in case I run across someone who needs the help while I'm there searching for them.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk in media and in a lot of other groups and stuff that I'm in, and even outside of the groups I'm in, I'm hearing other people talk, and they asked me about it as well. But people are talking about, the election, and if one party wins, there's going to be riots and stuff in the street, and if the other party wins, there's going to be riots and stuff going on in the street. So, sounds like people have made up their minds that when somebody gets elected in November, that they're planning on rioting. So it would probably be a good idea to be prepared in case something like that happens. So that's why we figured we'd talk about this now before that comes up. Have you guys heard any of that through your channels?
Yeah, I've seen lots of people wanting to act a fool whenever whoever they don't want wins. Whoever they don't want to win wins. They say that they're gonna act crazy because that's what they believe is the thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, they're both evil, so there you go.
They must have cheated, so therefore let's riot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when stuff like that happens, no one wins. Um, it's not going to change anything. The only way you can change things is by going to the polls. So,
Yeah. Well, let's since we are the off-road podcast, let's talk about prepping your rig. Talk about some things that you can do to prepare your rig for in case some stuff hits the fan, or in case there's riots or something. Um, the first thing I want to talk about is getting some maintenance done now that you've been putting off. Um, Tune up, your oil change, whatever.
that O2
Tires, get those
sensor
tires now.
Yeah, get those tires now. Those O2 sensors you haven't replaced that you've been meaning to for the last 6 months.
Pentaxle.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know how many people have heard anything much about this, but when COVID struck, people were having trouble getting tires because
They still are.
companies shut down and
also,
everything.
not only are our tires hard to find, parts are hard to find.
Yeah.
Companies like Icon Suspension, they were a month and a half out on ordering. So you'd order your parts and you'd have to wait a month and a half to get them. Well, if you're worried about something happening in November or tomorrow, and you say, "Hey, I need to order this tonight and overnight it," well, it's not going to get here overnight. It's not going to be there for another month and a half. So be ahead of the game, not behind it.
Yep. Metal Cloak even talked about that when they were on last week. So, yeah, there's a lot of people spending their money on stuff and waiting for it to show up. So, if you can get ahead of that curve, make sure you do it. And besides maintenance, you maybe just change. I guess this is maintenance also, but change out your wiper blades. It's going to be rainy season anyways. Top off your fluids, change out your filters. If you lived in the wildfire areas, it would be a really good opportunity to change out your cabin filter and your air filter and
Mine are
do all that
absolutely
business.
disgusting now.
Yeah.
The only good filter I have now is my engine filter, and that's because that pre-cleaner. But I checked my wife's cabin air filter, and I changed it last spring, this last spring, and it was gray, like gray black. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah. Nasty. Yep. Another thing you could do is just keep your rig, or I should say rigs. A lot of people have a wheeler, and they also have daily drivers, or sometimes your daily driver's your wheeler, but just keep them all full of fuel. That doesn't mean you drive for the day and fill it up every day on your way home unless you drive a lot of miles. But maybe the ones that are parked, keep them full of fuel, and the ones that aren't parked, maybe when you get down to half a tank, you fill it up. Because if there's going to be some distress out there, people are going to be panicking, probably going to the gas station, filling up stuff. You might wait in line for a while. So if you're
Yeah,
filled up, you can avoid that stuff.
yeah, and if you're up north where it snows, this is kind of that time of year when you really need to start considering that to where, hey, I need to keep my rig full. Don't let it go under a half a tank of gas. That way, if it snows and you get stuck in the snow, hey, you can stay nice and warm while you're waiting. If you're in your daily, or you're me stuck in a ditch, yeah, it's nice to stay warm.
Yeah.
It
And then the last
also
one, this, go ahead.
just as a side note too, it'll also help keep your fuel pump running longer, especially if the fuel pump's in the most of them are in the tank, but it just helps dissipate some of that heat off, so it helps extend the life of your fuel pump.
That's very true. The last one sounds very prepperish, but having a get home bag. If you get caught, if you work downtown or something, and maybe while you're in work, they come through with a riot and they flip your car over and catch it on fire. It's a long walk home for some people. You might have a get home bag in your rig. It's not like a bug out bag. It's not full of all your survival gear or whatever, but it's going to have maybe a change of clothes, maybe a day's worth of food, a couple of water bottles,
Some cash.
it's cash, a bazooka, some comfortable sneakers, because you don't want to be
Mortars.
walking home in dress shoes.
That's a good point.
Although if they flip your car over and catch it on fire, you might not be able to get to your get home bag, but maybe you can bring it in your business with you, or keep something in your in your office drawers or something, someplace where you can keep it, or in your work van or something. So something to get home, and maybe even a paper map. How are you going to get home? Do you always drive the same way home every time? What if you don't know another way to get home and that one's blocked?
Yeah, have a plan. I mean, for example, and this is for like my area when we had all those fires. There's 4 ways into my town, and 2 of them were closed off.
Yeah.
So, knowing those back roads, those extra alternative ways to get home, it helps.
Yeah, there was a town out at the coast in Oregon called Otis, super small little dinky town. And you can either go north out of town, south out of town, or east out of town. It's only 3 ways out of town, and east was blocked. You could not go east because of the fires. So, and I think that they were even having a problem south. So there was technically only one way, and you could only go north out of town. So let's move on to prepping for your house. Store some extra fuel at your house. Or, I mean, you might store your extra fuel in your rig. I always keep a 5-gallon jerry can in my rig just because. But store some extra fuel at your house for your rigs. If you've got a diesel, maybe you need to store not only gasoline, but store some diesel as well. And then you might think of other fuel items like propane. That's a fuel. Batteries, maybe you want to make sure you've got plenty of extra batteries. Swing by Costco. They've got those mega packs of Duracells there. Your kids have got all those super loud electronic toys that chug through those batteries anyways, or maybe you got some walkie talkies that need them. Get some extra batteries.
Yeah, and then in like your fuel that you're gonna store, Aaron suggested here in the chat that that you get non-ethanol because that's gonna last longer.
Yep.
And it won't gel up. So yeah, have like one full refill for every vehicle stored if you can.
Yeah,
then
and also you use
20 gallons
fuel
average.
stabilizer. So
Yeah,
um,
and if you have a chainsaw or any of that, you'll want to store some gas for that. And the fuel you'll have in that, it's best to have non-ethanol for anything that you're going to store.
yeah, for sure. Um, some quote unquote experts are suggesting to have 3 weeks worth of food. 3 weeks worth of food. Sorry, I was trying to remember if it's 3 months or 3 weeks. But I mean, if you can have 3 months worth of food, by all means do it. But in an emergency situation, a Katrina or a big San Andreas earthquake or something, 3 weeks of food is a really good supply of food for something like that. Make sure it's stuff you're going to eat too. You know, if you bought all MREs, you might eat 3 weeks worth of MREs and you aren't going to poop for 3 more weeks after that. You're going to have some serious problems. So, you're probably going to get pretty tired of MREs too. So buy food that you like, buy canned goods you like, dry goods. Yeah. Beer, make sure it's beer that you like.
Well, and that's the best way to make sure all your stuff stays fresh is if you buy something you're actually going to use and then you rotate it through.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, definitely, especially if it's stuff you use, you're going to rotate it through. Your kids are never going to have a hard time eating it, so you're not yelling at them to eat their food. I know that's always been a battle in my house. I'll buy something they don't like. It'd be a cereal, and I end up either eating it myself or it gets thrown
Mhm.
away because no one wants to eat it because it tastes nasty. So
Yep. Yeah, and whatever happens with the election, I don't think the riots are going to be knocking out power and knocking out water and things like that. But so I feel like it's safe to tell people to, if you got a deep freezer or space in your refrigerator and freezer, stock up on cold goods or frozen goods that you're not worried about. Um, I don't think the election is going to cause a nationwide panic unless somebody figures out how to set an EMP off because they hate who won. I don't know, but
well,
that probably
and
won't be happening.
this advice goes beyond just that. This goes for a super bad snowstorm, a super bad windstorm, a tornado, an earthquake, Mount Rainier exploding. What is
Super volcano out of Yellowstone.
the Yellowstone super volcano exploding?
Yeah.
The polarity of the Earth.
Sharknadoes.
Sharknado. There you go.
Yep.
Sharknado comes through. Just being prepared for whatever can happen helps you out.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
So
better to be prepared and not be the victim searching for or looking for food when there's no food to be found. And if you've got little ones, it's even worse.
yeah. And sometimes you can talk to your doctor and get 90 days worth of medicine ahead of time as well. Your doctor will be like, "Oh, that's fine. We can sign you up for that." You tell them that maybe you're concerned about something, or tell them that maybe you're going on vacation and you want to have some extra, and they'll write you a bigger prescription usually.
Yeah,
If it's Vicodin, probably not.
yeah. If it's a pain pill, you're gonna have an issue with it. But if it's your standard medications, a lot of doctors are cool with that. You've just got to look into the protocols with it.
Yep. So, what was the hot commodity, you guys, when COVID hit and they couldn't keep it on the shelves in the stores?
Hold on, let me fix my shirt for this one. TP for my bunghole.
Yes, TP for your bunghole.
Are you threatening?
You got everybody saw what happened there. I mean, and some people are all upset. Well, people are hoarding toilet paper. I don't think people were hoarding toilet. I mean, maybe a couple people were, but for the most part, normal people were buying an extra package every time they went, and the supply chain wasn't ready for that. So maybe buy some extra toilet paper and have some extra toilet paper at your house. It doesn't cost that much more to add an extra thing of that 10, $12, some extra toilet paper to have on your house.
Oh, I love my Costco packs of toilet paper. It's nice not having to look around at all the other stores to find toilet paper and it be subpar toilet paper.
Yep.
Well,
Because there was a go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, because there was a run on toilet paper, there was a run on bidets.
Yeah. And There's talk that we could be facing that again. I heard stories of California having runs on toilet paper again. I'm like, what?
Runs
Well,
on toilet paper. Haha.
normally you clean up the runs with the toilet paper.
Yeah.
I mean,
But there's also other things too. What was it? Hand sanitizer. What was the bottled water?
Yeah.
If you have that stuff, you're not looking for it when it's too late.
so really what the toilet paper shortage points out is everything in today's day and age is on time, is just in time delivery.
Yep.
So they are only looking to carry as much as they normally sell. So whenever there's a higher demand for something, there's going to be a shortage of it. And so you got to kind of figure out what you can and can't live without, and have a little extra stored up if you deem it necessary.
And that could be the supplies for your vehicle for an oil change too.
Yep. So beyond toilet paper, other toiletries, shampoo's not expensive, soap's not expensive. Just buy a little extra soap, a little extra shampoo. Try to get a 90-day supply. What's 3 months worth of shampoo? Is that 2 bottles?
It depends upon your wife.
Yeah, that's very true.
I from experience, we seem to have more conditioner bottles than we do shampoo bottles. So
Oh, that's probably every house that has a woman in it. Good grief. It's ridiculous. But it's not going to cost you that much more to have a couple extra bottles of shampoo, one extra package of bar soap if you use that, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and it's stuff you're going to use. It's consumables. You're going to use it. It's not going to go bad. Well, most people use it. Some people should be using it and aren't. Aaron Kravik says he uses a quarter of a bottle in 3 months, apparently.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that means soap or what.
He's just not using enough of it.
Yeah. Maybe
and then
podcast
on
about hygiene.
yeah. Our next thing here is first aid supplies. Having that around and available. Go to Medical Gear Outfitters. Check out all the stuff they have.
plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. I mean, just the basic things that you use around the house. I mean, you think about it, just regular Band-Aids. If you've got little kids, they're always scraping their knees. They want a Band-Aid for something that's not bleeding. And, having those extra Band-Aids there, that way when you do need them, they're not gone.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
a lot better than duct tape and toilet paper, especially if toilet paper is a precious commodity.
you might want to top off your this may have fallen under the medicine category, but like your Advil and Tylenol and any medicine that you use for your kids, like children's Tylenol, that's the last thing you want, is to look up in your cabinet, see that you're out of whatever you give to your kids when they've got something going on. They got hurt really bad and they're crying and they won't shut up. You're trying to put them to sleep or whatever.
And you can't find it.
Now you got to run to the store. You got to fight off some Antifa and some Proud Boys to get into Safeway just to get some liquid Advil or children's Tylenol or whatever it is you use. So, yeah, you wouldn't have to do that if you're stocked up just a little bit extra.
Well, here's our next one: water. Got to fill up those camping jugs.
Yeah, if our audience is who I think they are, you probably have a 5-gallon jug in your camping stash that you take with you when you go camping for water.
Mine's 4.7, and I have 2 of them.
Yep. So fill them up. Just have them topped off in case of emergency. We got super lucky the other day. We had filled ours up, and I can't remember the reason why, but we filled up both of our 5 gallons for one reason or another about a month ago. And lo and behold, I got up one morning and went to take a shower and no water. And I'm like checking all around the house, 0 water at our house. It turned out that we're halfway between the main reservoir and the reservoir that feeds their town. And so we were only a few people that it happened to, but something broke. The pipe broke at the main reservoir. So the town had water, but we didn't have water because we're outside of town. So luckily, I was able to grab 5 gallons of water and pour it into something, heat it up, and give myself a sponge bath before work. That was excellent. I was super excited about that. But I was able to make something happen.
Yep, and you can also buy some cases of bottled water. Buy some of those 1 gallon jugs. I keep a, uh, I have keep a bottle of spring water and a bottle of distilled water. The distilled water is always good for topping off your vehicle if your
Mhm.
antifreeze is low or whatever,
Yep.
or if you need to
Batteries.
mix- or your batteries if you have an
Yeah.
unsealed battery.
Does anybody have a non-maintenance free battery in their vehicle anymore?
Mm, probably
Uh,
Ben. He probably gets them used.
I mean, I see them in the motorcycle world a lot, but I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah.
one for a vehicle
It's
for a
You're
car.
right. It is pretty rare for passenger
It's-
vehicles. That's true.
yeah, it's a whole lot less uncommon, but I mean, maybe someone's got an older vehicle that's listening.
A whole
Yep.
lot less uncommon, so it's more common.
I don't. Who knows? Um. Hey,
Uh,
Jeremy.
Yeah,
How's your generator running?
I don't have one.
It's just not running so well then.
No.
Shoot. Well, I was gonna vote for it. If you got a generator, make sure it's working. Maybe take it to a shop, have it get tuned up real quick before winter. You're probably gonna want to do that anyways because winter's coming. Winter's coming, and there might be a snowstorm or a windstorm knocks out power in your area, and you might not have power.
Then all that nice fresh food in your fridge goes bad.
Yeah.
Unless
I-
you
So
get
apparently
buttered.
Aaron Kravick has the old school flooded cell deep cycle in his pickup truck. Leave it to Aaron to
Yep.
have that set up.
He also mentioned a Sawyer filter. It's got an almost infinite lifespan for filtering your water. And Rick has said 5 gallons of whiskey.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're all caught up on all your other food prep items, do the whiskeys.
Well, knowing Rick, he probably does have 5 gallons of whiskey.
Yep.
That's very true. Yeah. That's not a prep. That's just a normal thing. Maybe get some fresh batteries in your flashlights. Get that
Oh,
done ahead of time.
It's that time of year.
Ben.
I've been going through my house. I actually just bought batteries, and I went through and I started switching out all the batteries in my flashlights because I found a few that were dead. I was like, "Hey, you're dead. That's not good." And discovered like half my flashlights had dead batteries in them, and that's no good.
Yeah. My wife was looking for a flashlight the other day, couldn't find any. My son went with my mom for the weekend, and she went in his room for some reason and found 3 of our flashlights in his bedroom. Who knows what he's doing in there? It's having a laser light show or something. But yeah, I
looks-
came home from work and there's 3 flashlights on the table. I'm like, where did these come from? Oh, I found them in your son's room. Of course, it's my son. So,
Well,
They're probably broken too, huh?
no, they weren't broken.
at least he wasn't making
Yeah.
candles in his room.
You don't need flashlights if you're making candles in your bedroom.
Yep.
It's a fair point.
Well, here's a good one. Have some cash on hand. That's always a good one, right? Cash is
Yeah,
king.
and don't just have cash stashed at your house. Make sure to keep some in your wallet and stuff too, because if the electricity does go out for some reason, and they can't take debit cards, they'll take cash generally, and it doesn't do you good if it's at home tucked away in your closet under your mattress in your safe in a piggy bank. So
And make sure it's not just all large bills. You definitely want to have some small ones.
yeah.
Also, it wouldn't hurt to have small amounts of gold and silver. Somebody may think it's worth more than it really is.
Have
There
some
you go.
have some rolls of
Trick.
coins too. There's the whole change shortage, and we need exact change. Well, and you only have that $100 bill, that's not going to do you much good if it's $99 and whatever, $96. You're like, that $4 matters. That could be
You have
drinks
to
or
buy
whatever.
two more candy bars.
Yeah, 2 more candy bars.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have coins, you can always put them in a sock and beat people with them as a weapon.
Which is a perfect segue to make sure you stock up on the most precious metal.
That's right.
Ammo.
The most precious metal, ammo.
Good luck finding
and
it
that's
right now, though.
that's really hard to do right now. I've been getting lucky. I shouldn't say lucky because it's a lot of hard work. I go into the local stores a couple times a week, and they will only sell you 2 boxes each time you go. 2 boxes per family, not 2 boxes
Ooh,
per
per
person.
family. Are they IDing you so you know they know your family name?
No, you just have to get it set up with your wife ahead of time so you aren't standing next to each other and holding hands buying ammo together.
Hey, sexy lady. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You want to
Yeah.
combine our ammo supply?
Yeah.
Rick just texted me a picture of his alcohol supply. It is vast, and he says it doesn't even include his camping supply or his beach house.
Oh
my
boy.
goodness. We're going to Rick's house for a whiskey tasting, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
that's where we're
curious
gonna
about
have
this
our
Jameson
next
cold
overland
brew.
trip.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I had some. You weren't there because you missed out on Nevada.
I know.
You had a frowny face, Axel.
Well, let's talk about prepping yourself. So just like your car, make those doctor's appointments. Get this stuff checked out sooner than later. Maybe you need to make that doctor's appointment so that you can get your 90-day supply of Vicodin or with that other V drug, the blue pill.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't stress. You don't want to be trying to get a dentist appointment like with COVID, how it changed dentist appointments. Trying to get it. I heard a few horror stories of people who had scheduled appointments to get like root canals. They had to wait like 3 months to get that root canal done finally, and
Oof.
the pain was just immense. I'm like, at
Yeah.
that point, I would have just pulled the tooth out myself with some pliers. Here's the channel locks. Pull them out, please.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
That's still not. At least use vice grips. Come on, man.
All right, guys. There we go.
Yeah. I use needle nose on my kids.
Well, that's different when they're already loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tooth Ben's talking about is not already loose.
Nope. That sucker's
probably
gonna fight
not,
you all
yeah.
the way out.
Yeah, it will. Well, another way to prep for yourself is to take care of your body. You only got 1 month before the election hits, but maybe
Little
start
late.
walking. Yeah, it's a little late to get yourself in shape in 1 month, but maybe it's not too late. Maybe you can just start eating healthier and going on walks. Take the dog for a walk, take the wife for a walk. Do some of that stuff. Go walking. Burn some calories. Get off Facebook and all the angry people and get out and move.
Go for a bike ride.
Yep. And the last one we got here for prepping yourself is to talk with your family so they don't think you're a crazy person for just going and buying all the stuff we talked about.
Just as a heads up, some of your wives will still think you're crazy. Speaking from experience here.
Most likely, yeah. But just let them know that you're stocking up a little bit just in case there's some chaos. Maybe there's a natural disaster that you're concerned about, or it's wintertime and you want to be prepared for bad weather.
Yeah, especially if you've got a little bit of commute and you're like, hey, I work 20 miles from home. That 20-mile drive, that 20-minute drive or 40-minute drive, how long of a walk is that for you? Be ready for that.
And honestly, if you're stocked up well enough, you can. I don't know about you guys, but my wife goes to the store once a week. if you stock up enough, you can stretch that out to once every 10 days or once every 2 weeks. And so you're going to the store less, you're using less fuel, that kind of stuff. That's good for you.
We're what is it? Oh, we can go 2 weeks without going to the grocery store.
Yeah. And the last thing is, if you are well stocked up well enough, you can pick and choose when you want to go to the store generally. So if there's times of the day when it gets crazy out there, well, it's not an emergency. You don't have to go during that time. Plan ahead. So, and I guess there's one important caveat to all the things that we just told you to buy. We just told you to spend thousands of dollars. Don't put yourself in debt to do this. Don't rack up crazy credit card bills unless it's for buying some new guns. That's okay. Or buying some new mud tires. I'm totally cool with that. But
What about
don't
an axle?
don't spend $2,000 on groceries if you can't afford it and now you don't have a way to pay it off. Buy what you can. Throw in a couple extra things that you would normally buy. Be conscious about it.
Shop smart. I mean, some of the stuff you can go to the dollar store and pick up for $1 each.
Yeah, like Band-Aids that are terrible.
It's better than nothing. It's better than
it is better than nothing. But I mean, maybe you can get some toiletries at the dollar store, or I know you can get canned goods and dried goods there and stuff like that. There's bakery outlets that have stuff marked down. If you're buying some bread for cheap, you can throw it in the freezer and it'll last for a long time. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps up this episode. I would, if you have any comments or care to comment, feel free to hit us up via Facebook or our email, offroadpodcast@gmail.com.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening